Personal initiative is so key to a successful life that it is absolutely essential, just as essential as a starter to a car. You can have the fastest car, you can have the best car, but if the starter doesn't work, this is a little small piece of thing. If it doesn't work, the car is just gonna sit there, idle, not running, wasted. In today's episode, we'll talk about self-initiative. I would also call that motivation. It is key number 6 in the 17 key to success by Napoleon Hill. The first one is definiteness of purpose. The second one is mastermind. Third one is applied faith. Fourth one is going the extra mile. Fifth one is a pleasing personality. And number 6, what we're gonna talk about today, is personal initiative. So personal initiative in Napoleon Hill's term, he talks about how personal initiative bears the same relation to an individual that a starter bears to an automobile. It is the power that initiate all actions. It is the power that assure completion of any one beginnings. Okay, so that kind of what the textbook definition, kind of like how what he someone else summarizes what he said. So in my way of looking at it is that it says right here, personal initiative is the same to a person as a starter to a car. Personal initiative is the thing that gets you up in the morning, that gets you dressed, that gets you brush your teeth, to shave, to smile, to give the world your best. And a lot of times it doesn't feel like it's inside. Like I think maybe it is like a millennial thing, right? We were kind of spoon-fed and left to fend for ourselves, right? The television taught us more than our parents ever did. And so now we are not spoon-fed these instructions, right? Like school and, in the economics, and maybe sometimes you're in a job where, people give you instructions. But outside of that, there isn't like a really good set of things that will motivate you to get things done, to get started, to initiate, to have a personal initiative, right? Personal initiative. I don't think I would be anywhere if I did not take personal initiative, if I did not have the self-motivation to get myself where I'm at now. Let's see, I would probably be, I'd still be in Hong Kong, fat, and have no goal. I would probably either be working at some kind of labor job, or I don't know. I just, that direction, the no self-initiative motivation to change, to get better. I guess I've had that since I was young. Maybe because I had to. If I don't imagine myself having a better future, nobody is going to do it for me. So I just keep looking for ways to allow myself to get to the next step. So the starter part of my vehicle, if you want to use analogy, my starter works really well, but it doesn't always get started either. But the burning desire, I think it always refers back to the definiteness of purpose, right? If there's a better way to explain that, is that a burning desire is that thing that you really wish, like the thing that you're jealous of other people. Mel Robbins mentioned that you can use jealousy as a compass to get to the things that you want, because jealousy are things that you would love to have that you're not doing anything about, right? So if you do something about what you're jealous of doing, that burning desire that you're following turns into your definiteness of purpose, which you can share your idea of how to obtain it, or even wanting it. Plant that seed in with your mastermind, and with all of you applying faith into your ability of you obtaining that, and going the extra mile in everything you do to obtain that. Having a pleasing personality so that you can get someone to cooperate. I think cooperation is step number 13, so down the road. So all of these builds towards to these things, to success that you're trying to get to. So now that you have all of this, you have where to go, you have the team to support you to go, and you have the fuel in faith, and you have the willingness to go the extra mile at any possible times that you need to. And you have a pleasing personality. You're just good, like a nice person to be with, even with yourself, just spending time with yourself. And now you can use this and get started on the journey that you want to take. For me, this journey is this podcast. The Art of Chef podcast. It was something that a year ago was not on my radar at all. A year ago, I was in this same room talking to Kitty about how to make dumplings, and how we can have a spreadsheet where people sign up on a spreadsheet, and how we sell the dumplings in Ziploc bags, and Jiminy Cricket. So yeah, that started this whole thing. And so it would turn into us selling the dumpling in the private market, and then it went to her getting me hooked up with Laurel to get some help, and she built me the Use Gourmet website on Shopify so that the people can pre-order the dumpling for the private market. And then within that website, and then this whole time, she was kind of producing me on Insta. I was doing a lot of the creative stuff on Insta with my cooking stuff. So we kind of handed that off to her and her team. Now we're kind of we kind of fell into this podcasting, right? I met Ricky, I met Martin, and just between all of the idea about cooking and, me being in front of the camera and just, chopping it up with my friends and telling my story, I think we have finally found this pod to be something that I want to, at least right now, kind of pursue, right? To see what happens. To see if it can get anywhere. So, but without that personal initiative, without that a little bit of spark. See, you don't need a lot of spark to start anything. You don't need a lot of energy to start the starter for the car. Like the amount of energy that you have to put in for this personal initiative is so small. Right? It's like spark, then the rest of the cars start running, and then it starts running, and then the starter just kind of hangs out. Like, you need this once a day at the minimum. Like, if you can get yourself into a great start every day, I think that would be I think that would really set you up for the next key, which is a positive mental attitude. I mean, you can bunch a bunch of these up together, but I love that how we're separating them out. We're looking at this very, very small part of your day, like less than 10 minutes. So I love a great start. I would like to say I'm a morning person. sheer because I became a morning person from cooking. I worked corporate and private schools, and I'm usually the first one there, last one to leave. So I start early. You know, sometimes there's a count that does breakfast, and I live an hour away. And so there's days that I gotta leave before the sun comes up, like 4 or 5 o'clock. Get up 4 or 5 o'clock, and then get there, and there's when it's still dark, and get started. So, but it kind of developed this like a morning personality thing for me. A lot of people talk about super successful people like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, have like a 4:30 habits where he gets up, he works out. It's great, yeah. Like you get up and you kind of pour into yourself, take care of yourself, and then go on with your day. So, even for me now, I try to get up early. I try to get up before everybody else does at the house, at the minimum, and then I want to go sit, take a piss, and then sit for 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be fancy. This might be a little too much information, but I just sit on my toilet with the lid closed. Set the timer for 10 minutes on my watch. And then I just breathe for 10 minutes. Just the whole time, just remind myself that I'm just breathing in, breathing out. This is just a mental, just everything is all good. This is mental practice. It's allowing me to get my thought clear my mind, and just give me that ability to not react to the day. Give me that little space, that little 3 seconds, that little 1 second of space. And now I picked up this habit from Mel Robbins. First of all, well, if you have a hard time getting out of bed, you can use her strategy of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to get out of bed. Snoozing is tough. You waste a lot of time snoozing, and I don't even know if you get any benefit of sleep from that. So in the morning, I used to sleep in all kinds. I used to snooze for hours. Now I just get up. I don't 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to get up, but there was a period of time that I needed that. So you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you just say, get the fuck out of bed, move on. And then whatever you don't want to do, you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you just snap yourself into doing it. Okay? If you want to learn more about that, there's a book. I'm sure there's a link below. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mel Robbins.
And now, a quick break. We hope you're enjoying this episode of The Art of Chef. If you're listening to us on your podcast app, we want to invite you to watch these episodes again on our YouTube channel. This is a completely different entertainment experience. Especially during our guest interviews, we love to spice things up with GIFs and other visuals that really bring the episodes to life. So don't be a stranger. Subscribe to The Art of Chef on YouTube and download episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
And so now there's this other book called High Five Habits from her. If you haven't already heard about this, check her out. Her book, I've listened to it more than 10 times. It's kind of on my rotation. She's like my Taylor Swift right now. So check out her book, High Five Habits. So it talks about how you start your day and you look at yourself in the mirror and you give yourself a high five. And I just started doing that after I listened to her book. It was introduced to me by my chiropractor, and I went through a lot of emotional healing with that book, and how I was able to kind of high five myself to tell myself that I'm safe, that I'm okay, and I'm enough. to just and to look myself in the mirror, you know, to really see myself, see Yukei and look into my own eyes and be able to say to myself, I see you, I was there with all of it, I forgive you, I love you, and let's just go crank this day. And so so starting off your day like that, right? Get up, have some meditation time, quiet before anybody, the kids get up. Then you brush your teeth, you high five yourself in the mirror. You know, I put my contacts on, I take a shower, you know, before everybody gets up. And you kind of spend a good hour loving on yourself, taking care of number one, before you have to take care of anybody else. Now you're probably saying like, dude, my kid, I don't have time. You know what? Early birds gets the worm. If you're telling me that you have 16, 18 hours of shit to do, and you wait until the end of it to give yourself the time, or try to stuff some time in between those hours to give yourself some time, you'll never get to do it. You'll never do it. You just won't. So pay yourself first every day. It doesn't have to be money. Pay yourself in time. You know how valuable that is? You know how valuable that 10-minute is, you know, to me? I go and tell my friends, I say, hey, you know what? Try this 10-minute thing. Maybe you stop feeling like the world is robbing you of your time if you just pay yourself first, right? You make the decision. You have the self-initiative to start your day the same, with great habits, taking care of yourself first. There are days that you don't get that hour. There are days that you end up sleeping in. There are days that you don't get that 10 minutes. But guess what? All those days that you've taken care of yourself allow you the flexibility to live those tougher days. Versus in those tougher days, you just like burnt the fuck out. And you're like, I never give myself time, and shit is coming in hot like this. Get me the fuck out of this life. I know. And nobody is gonna come and create that little bit of time for you. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to say, hey, you know what? I'll set up this little time for you to just prune yourself. And it is in you to decide how early you need to get up to give yourself that time, so that the rest of the day you can give yourself to the rest of the world. And how you do that is by going to bed early the night before to set yourself up so that you can get up early the next morning. It is that simple. Chefs, restaurant people, you know what I'm talking about. You will never ever let your crew leave the kitchen messy, dirty. If you're a right operator of a kitchen or a restaurant, you would never let your crew walk out of a place dirty. I mean, if you're in like a corporate or like a franchise, shit, you got the cleaning at the end is like, it's just intense. But the place is usually sparkling clean, and it's usually set up for the opening crew. Like when I used to run one of my cafes, I make sure that I even make sure the coffee is in the filter already to brew the night before, or maybe not in a thing, or it's already ready. So that first thing in the morning, everybody's just gonna have to turn on the oven, turn on the stove, boil water, right? And then that's all they need to do. They don't have to put shit on sheet pans. They don't need to. They just fucking heat stuff, cook stuff, and go. Right? Can you only imagine that? Then you can just kind of cruise the day. You already have the prep done for lunch, so you just kind of fire lunch. and then you prep for dinner, or the prep for dinner is probably already done. Then you just prep for, you get ahead of time. You get ahead, right? And you can only see the other side of the spiral, where you got your crew, they ran a long day, and you're like, fuck, okay, go home. We'll figure it out tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, the dishes, like, fuck, there's all these dishes. So he starts his days all pissed off, and then, he just fucking walks on down, and, it just doesn't work. So why would you do that to your life? A lot of people do that. I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh, I work. Oh, I don't, I'll go to the gym at the end. I'll do this at the end. I'll do, but at the end of the day, you don't have any time. You just want to fucking sit around and do nothing, right? So then you start your next day, and you just get into this bad cycle, right? Like this downward spiral. Versus you're like a person, like my friend Jeff, my mortgage guy friend Jeff, and he lost a ton of weight because he just started walking. This fool started walking in the morning, and he's like 10,000 steps. Like, I get like 15,000 steps today. He's like, it's just all about steps, right? But where does he go for those steps? He goes for those steps in the morning, where it's quiet, where it's dark, where nobody's out there bothering him, calling him. The morning is the most private time, where you have the most energy. Why don't you spend that for yourself? I get it, the nighttime is quiet. Not it's not that quiet for a lot of people. There's people that hit him up all the time, right? So your nights are not that quiet, right? And so you have to find this personal initiative. You have to find the self-motivation to get your day started, right? And have good habits. And some of you were like, well, chef, fuck, I work night shift. My day, I can't be a 5 a.m. person. Well, you know what? Whatever that 5 o'clock in the morning, it's just the first thing, like, I would love everybody to get at least 8 hours of sleep, right? That leaves you 16 hours a day, right? Let's just say that you do 8 hours of work, right? In the kitchen, you need to be there like 10 hours. Right? So 12 hours between the commute, I'll give you 12 hours, right? Minus 12 hours for work, my kitchen folks. You have 4 hours, right? 4 hours to do whatever the fuck you want. It might not be a lot of times, but if you can just take 30 minutes out of those 4 hours a day to do some self-improvement, self-development, meditation, self-love practice, emotional healing stuff, I think that in less than a week, you'll find that your days are becoming just a little bit better. The scheduling of things are a little bit easier. You have a little bit more energy, a little bit more patience, because you're rested. You started off the day giving yourself a high five, giving yourself 10 precious minutes to be quiet, to just let your soul come to this world from the dream world. And I start my day with a cup of coffee, but yeah, and take care of my kids and take them to school and make sure that my wife has got what she needs. So before she goes to work, and then off I go. I come and record a pod, 1 or 2, and then I go on to make dinner for the people I go work and make dinner for the people I serve. So go home, and if I get home early enough to see my boys and help them shower and stuff, I do that. If not, get home and chill, have a little time of a little relaxation, and I might do a little pod, catch up with my wife, leave her some space to have some show time as well, and go to bed and do it again. Within there's some stretching. I would, when there's a chance, I go golfing, or I'll go to the gym. But yeah, without that early start without that start in the morning to get your day started so that you can live it fully, it's where a lot of us used to struggle or are struggling with, that you don't find enough time in the day for yourself. You have to think about it this way. You have to find time to take care of yourself. And you know what? It can be 1 minute, it can be 10 minutes, it can be an hour, however long that you can give yourself. Give yourself the time. Give your mind that time to settle. Breathe. This will give you that little bit of space so that you don't react to the things that's happening to the world. And if you're not reacting, you have a chance to be proactive. Anyway, I think we've gotten the point across with the personal initiative. Personal initiative is so key to a successful life that it is absolutely essential, just as essential as a starter to a car. You can have the fastest car, you can have the best car, but if the starter doesn't work, this little small piece of thing, if it doesn't work, this little coil doesn't work, the car's just gonna sit there idle, not running, wasting away, just sitting there collecting dust. Versus if you can just find a little bit of starter, right? If you can get a starter working on a little moped, you can go way further with a moped than a Ferrari that doesn't have a starter. Okay, I'll leave it at that. The seventh step is positive mental attitude. That one takes a lot of work. The positive mental attitude thing, the hypnosis to your mind, to think positively when the whole world seems to be so negative. You're gonna want to come back for that. And if you're still here, I love you guys. I believe in you guys and gals. I'm hustling and struggling right here, right next to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you at the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us today. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed this episode, it only takes a moment to post a positive rating and review. Your support allows us to grow the community and reach more extraordinary people just like you. And come check out the Art of Chef YouTube channel on your next lunch break. We'd love to see you there. Thanks again for listening. See you in the next episode.